Hello and welcome to your daily dose of SirToshi's news. Today's date is Friday, the 10th of June 2022. Without further ado, let's just jump straight into it. Buy BSV.live, the best place to buy Bitcoin SV online, the original protocol and genuine Bitcoin. Now here we go, some great articles I want to speed through right now. Check this out. Landmark coin recovery settlement set to usher in a new era for digital assets. This was just 2 hours ago by Jordan Atkins. Here we go, let's have a look at this then. Tulip Trading Limited, TTL, and Bitcoin Association have reached a settlement in Dr. Wright's landmark suit, arguing that blockchain developers owe fiduciary and tortious duties towards their users, which compel the developers to act in cases of lost or stolen coins. However, the settlement is most notable for reasons unrelated to Dr. Wright's suit. Bitcoin Association has been in the process of developing software that would allow miners to freeze coins once it had been established that a valid court order or another document of equivalent legal weight had been issued to that effect. In practical terms, it provides a clear path for holders of digital assets and other blockchain users to enforce their legal property rights, such as in cases where digital assets have been stolen or wallet keys lost. Though its consequences are likely to reach far across the digital asset industry, this suit arises from a hack on Dr. Wright's home network in 2022, which saw the keys to a colossal amount of Bitcoin stolen from him. Dr. Wright filed suit against a number of blockchains and their developers, including those associated with the BTC and BCH blockchains. Dr. Wright argued that the software engineers in charge of the relevant blockchains owe him a duty to prevent the hackers from dealing in the stolen property and return them to him. In March, all but Bitcoin Association and one other defendant succeeded in getting Tulip Trust's trading suit thrown out for want of jurisdiction. That decision is expected to be in the subject of an appeal to the Court of Appeal by Tulip Trading, but it didn't apply to Bitcoin Association, which was not party to the jurisdictional challenge. Fortunately, the settlement shows for the first time how legal coin recovery can work in practice. Bitcoin Association agrees to develop and publish software that can be used on the BSV network to translate court orders or documents of comparable force, likely a blueprint for use in other jurisdictions. This is massive. This is going to be absolutely huge because this now means that people with large will have confidence in using the genuine Bitcoin BSV for large amounts, knowing that they have legal recourse and protection should something happen in the trade. So this is massive for global and multinational corporate use. It's absolutely huge. Into a format capable of being broadcast to miners on their network. It is also incumbent on Bitcoin Association to attempt to find a suitable legal entity to operate the software, as well as develop and publish software that the miners can use to implement the digitized version of the order by freezing or unfreezing specific assets. Beyond that, Bitcoin Association does not play a role in the implementation of the software, as made clear in a statement published on the BA website. We'll look at that in a minute. This will be left up to the miners. The statement also clarifies that the technology required to effect the settlement had already been in development for some time in response to the massive increase of digital asset hacks in recent years and the problem that inevitably poses for would-be enterprise adopters of Bitcoin. Craig Wright said, Craig, providing BSV works inside the law is exactly why enterprises and governments are now committing to working with BSV. Absolutely. Opening the floodgates. This example is Craig providing a property law applies to his stolen coins. And that was a quote from Calvin Ayre. It is important to note that this settlement is not an agreement to move money to move any specific coins, including those that the core of Dr. Wright's suit. However, it will mean that the infrastructure required to implement any potential future court order related to coins which have been lost, including those lost as a result of theft, will now be in place. This is great. So now it means that people can't steal your coins, certainly not large amounts anyway. In other words, it amounts to the opening of a vital avenue for all holders of digital assets to enjoy the kind of legal protections that apply to any other kind of property and consumer interest. To many, the settlement agreement will look exactly as it should in a society based on the rule of law. If any digital asset is to be relied upon, particularly by enterprise and government, then a mechanism by which lost or stolen assets can be returned to their rightful owner is inevitably non-negotiable. This has been obvious for years and becomes more apparent and more pressing of an issue as the number of victims of digital assets theft climb exponentially. It's a point so elementary that this functionality was included in the earliest version of Bitcoin Alert Key until it was removed sometime after Satoshi Nakamoto disappeared from public view. So that would have been Blockstream probably removing that alert key because they just simply don't want Bitcoin used as cash. They don't want it used as a medium of exchange, and a medium of exchange, it is essential for people to have legal recourse because it protects them when they're actually exchanging goods and services. Fast forward to 2022, all that remained to be established is precisely how the rigors of the legal system would interoperate with something like Bitcoin, and pending the actual implementation, the settlement does exactly that. Oliver Kane, Ontario partner and advisor to the Tulip Trust Limited, said, "This settlement should be welcomed by anyone who has lost access to their BSV. Dr. Wright has always maintained that the technology required to restore control over digital assets were both necessary and available in circumstances where private keys have been lost or stolen." Yeah, absolutely. Somebody steals your private keys, it still doesn't mean that they own your coins. You need to prove that you own those coins and that they've stolen them without your permission. I mean, this is just absolute basic, so you can just feel more confident in using it, particularly with large amounts. So for anybody who's buying BSV for 40 quid now, they're going to be extremely wealthy in the future. So you would want your wealth protected. Today's settlement is the latest step in securing Tulip Trust Limited recovery of its stolen assets. Assuming the order is implemented as planned, the settlement has the potential to mark a new era for digital assets where the threat of losing access to coins, either via a hack or otherwise, is no longer treated as an inevitability. With that no longer needing to be the case, another wave of mass adoption has never seemed so close. Indeed, exciting times. While blockchains that are designed to act as a refuge for thieves will have to fall in line with the new era or disappear entirely. Well, yeah, I mean, economically they'll disappear anyway, but that is sensational stuff. Sensational stuff. Let's have a look at this press release. So, Bitcoin Association for BSV Tulip Trading Limited, settlement statement and frequently asked questions. All right, here we go. Loving this. In response to the settlement between Bitcoin Association for BSV Association and Tulip Trading Limited, this week Bitcoin Association has prepared a statement and answers to the most frequently asked questions that we and our representative are receiving. So TLDR, too long didn't read. Bitcoin Association settled with the Tulip Trust Limited because we were already planning to release the software being demanded. The software was developed with the aim to allow miners to freeze coins which are determined by valid legal process to be lost or stolen, such that they be returned to their rightful owner. The execution of valid court orders concerning digital assets on the BSV network would be the purview of the miners. They alone would run the required software and comply with received orders applicable to BSV as they see fit. This is fantastic. How did this all start? Let's have a little bit of a reminder. On February 24th, 2021, Bitcoin Association received notice that Tulip Trust Limited, a company associated with Dr. Craig S. Wright, is suing Bitcoin Association, asserting that Bitcoin Association have duties under English law as guardians of the Bitcoin SV node software to provide access and control to Bitcoins which were stolen from a computer of Dr. Wright in February 2020. For reference. Settlement of the legal action. In June 2022, Bitcoin Association, so that's this month, Bitcoin Association decided to settle with Tulip Trust Limited by agreeing, amongst other things, to release software which will make it possible for a notary service provider to verify court orders, asserting the rightful ownership of coins misappropriated in hacking incidents, and broadcast them to mining networks in machines readable language to allow miners to freeze these coins. Although the association has already released the first part of the software package in October 2021, enabling the freezing of transaction outputs, we have agreed to do whatever is in our power to solicit a notary service provider that is willing to execute the notary aspects of the process as an independent entity within a 30-day period. I mean, this is awesome. Why has Bitcoin Association been developing this software? In light of the hacks the cryptocurrency industry has been experiencing over recent years, for instance, and there's a number of hacks there that have been reported, might have a look at those in a minute, as well as for the double spend attacks BSV network experienced in July and August 2021, Bitcoin Association in collaboration with a software development company, N-Chain, has been developing a software solution to enable miners to enforce the legal rights of victims of crime. The module that allows miners to freeze coins as the countermeasure to double spend attacks was already released in October 2021. The fact that Dr. Wright approached the courts to force the early release of the additional tools and solicit a notary service provider within such short periods puts us under pressure, but is not contrary to our goal. Oh, this is fantastic. Fantastic. I've already been over 10 minutes, so I just want to... You can read through the article on the Bitcoin Association page. So check this out. Documented Bitcoin has just said here, core coin, that's who they're referring to as Bitcoin, is now secured by however many computations every second. Again, a hash rate really. But again, it can only do 7 transactions a second because they've purposely restricted the block size. It is an absolute waste. Honestly, it's an utter joke. It's hilarious. Like, who cares how many computations they can do when you can only do 7 transactions a second? What can you do with all this? Nothing. It's such a joke. Honestly, these people are just so lost about what Bitcoin really is. All you need is a little bit of common sense, to be honest with you. Check this one out. So gaming site Haste Arcade raises 1.5 million in oversubscribed fundraising round. This is huge. This is massive. Let's have a quick read of this then. I mean, this is really good. Haste Arcade has just closed a $1.5 million seed round. The funding was oversubscribed. Haste was able to exceed the $1 million target that it had set for itself. This is huge. We were originally seeking $1 million to lay a good solid foundation for the product stroke vision, and then have some working capital to start testing our assumptions around product stroke market fit, especially with marketing outside the crypto community, said Dan Wagner, the co-founder of Haste Arcade. After pitching the concept to a handful of investors, it became obvious that we weren't the only ones thinking ILP trademark. Gaming could potentially become a thing. We stopped pitching a couple of months ago, but due to word of mouth and interest from other investors, we were able to secure an additional $500,000 on top of the original goal, bringing the total to $1.5 million, he added. The gaming industry, according to Wagner, there are several elements of Haste Arcade that make investors confident in Haste's future. First and foremost, the idea is novel in it's new and it's easy to understand. Get on the leaderboard, get paid. It's not rocket science by any means. And at the same rate, it's not hard to imagine something like ILP trademark, gaming catching on and taking off. Secondly, the market, online gaming is absolutely massive. That's true, it is huge. And even if you're only able to capture a small fraction of the gamers in the world, you can build a business with millions or hundreds of millions of users. And finally, our team, it's not our first rodeo, meaning we've raised capital before and we've shown what it takes to build a business. Many don't know this, but the 4 co-founders of Haste Incorporated have been working together for basically 7 years at this point. We move fast, are great at failing, iterating, pivoting, and quite frankly, just getting stuff done and keeping the ball rolling. In addition, the rest of the folks we've brought on and our core team of 8 forms a solid foundation. When you realise the core team's skill set and experience, you realise that in a lot of ways, it's not your average startup. Since we started building Beta, everything has been done first class. If we are right, Haste Arcade has uncovered an entirely new category in gaming, and there is most likely some money to be made from being in the market leader for something like that, said Magni. Yeah, absolutely. this is huge. The way it works is you just simply play the game. If you get to the top of the leaderboard, because it's in order to play the game, you play micropayments. But when you're the top of the leaderboard, when people don't beat you, you get a cut of that micropayment. So if you're top of the leaderboard, you get a residual income from winning the game, and you stay there and you keep receiving that residual income until someone beats you. So there is always that financial incentive to play the game, so you get a residual income from being the winner. It's absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. Haven't got time to read through all that, but great article there. Definitely worth reading through if you get the chance. Check this one out. So BSV successfully hosted Blockchain 4 Gaming Conference in Warsaw. So again, we're starting to see real utility on the chain. Absolutely fantastic. And last few bits here. Jack Dorsey's TBD presents Bitcoin-based decentralized, we know that's a load of crap, Web 5, yeah, whatever, mate. Getting absolutely desperate. This is ridiculous. Web 5, whatever. On what? BTC? Are you joking? 7 transactions a second. Yeah, that's Web 5, mate. Yeah, no worries there. And a last one here. Just saw this one. So US Central Bank digital currency commentators, dividends on benefits unified in confusion. Like a Rorschach in blot, whatever that is. The Federal Reserve's Board CBDC's discussion paper provokes stakeholders with an opportunity to find what they want to see in absolute crap. Honestly, everything has to go on the everything will have to go on the Bitcoin network. Bitcoin being BSV. So there we go. Hope you enjoyed the show. Yeah, we'll leave it there. And as ever, be aware, take care, stay safe out there, joy given, and I'll see you in the next one.